Alrighty. What the hell is this? Daily theme. Alrighty, so where did we stop last night? Let's take a look. Shit, okay. Interesting. Okay. All right, good. So I think that was the issue. Let's kind of la 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 la. Where was this? I think Leo reported this. Yep. Okay, let's move this to done. Let's see what else did you guys report. And opening a thought. The like systems got put to 0. I see. Let's take a look. Let's actually go to production. So yeah, we have 101. We have 101 here as well. So yeah, let's see what Jace has reported here. Interesting. So let's take a look at that. Oh, actually, yeah, that's correct. Creo, good day, buddy. It's been a while since I saw you. How is life, man? Yeah, I've noticed, man. Good to have you back, dude. Good to have you back. How are you? How's life? How is everything? It's just a Saturday now. I've been to IKEA with my wife, and it's been a long day now. Just decided to stream a bit during the day and not, not in the night. So yeah, so indeed, basically, yeah. So this is some sort of a bug for sure, right? We can see that. Yeah, so we can see that. Yeah, I see. Wait. Which is the one that Jace reported? Let's see. What is going on? Is it here? Yeah, it's here, okay? If you want to pay for GitHub Copilot, yeah. So let's go to that. So if you want to pay, yeah. If you don't want to pay for, yeah, so it's this one. I see. So the comments are messed up. I see. So it seems that, so wait a minute. If I like this and I go in there, so the comment count, Colin Smara, good day, buddy. Good day. How's life? So let's kind of try to fix this one. So we are in production now. So let's try to kind of do that locally, right? So I'm gonna like this thing. Well, I can't seem to be. Let's see. Am I logged in as this user really? Oh, I am actually. Okay, that's awkward. So I can't like my own stuff. So let's kind of try to like this, and let's leave a comment. My VS Code has a background. Yes. So my VS Code has a background. So you can see it kind of looks like that, right? But yeah. So it's just the background, just like in my terminal, right? Just like in my Windows terminal here, it's kind of the same thing, right? I've actually recorded a video on this terminal if you care Let me send it to you. I've recorded a video a few days ago. Content, transform your la la la. How do I open it? Here. How do I send it to you? Here it is, right? All right, cool. So let's kind of fix this. So we can see that inside of a single thought view, basically, we're not really showing comments, right? So we're showing them here, but once you get in here, so let's kind of fix those quick bugs, and then we're gonna start the new feature today. So let's go to single thought, right? And somewhere here, most likely we're either not fetching the comments, the count. Ah, of course, yes, of course we are not, right? So I see, okay. I see. So we could, and let me actually, I was just playing with this thing, background removal. Let me just remove this. Let's just say background blur. And let's put it like this. It feels a bit awkward, so that's why I'm just gonna remove it. And then I'm gonna do this. All right. Cool. So let's fix it, right? So the thing is, if I go to my API, right, and we search for this super long query, right? Let's just do this. Oops. Let's just do that. Let's go to our database, right? No, let's not go to our database. Let's go to the file explorer. And then if we go to the controller here, there's this, no, it's the feed one. So there's this super long, query I wrote, right? This is our query. I think you, oh, it is. Sorry, that was a mistake. It's way too big. Yes. Way too big. Yes, you're absolutely right. Let's maybe try it like that. Yeah, I think that's better, right? So let's see what's happening here. So here this is our basically query for the thoughts, right? Yeah. And how are we actually querying the single thought now? Let's see. So let's fix this, and then we're going to start building a new feature, right? So I believe this is, let's zoom out a bit. Yeah. So essentially it's v1 thoughts, right? So if we go to our Swaggerio, our Swagger friend, right? I don't know why it keeps opening on a screen up there, but so if we get over here and we go to thoughts, right? So this is the one, right? This is the endpoint, yeah. And we can kind of see now, based on our JSON schema, right? We can see that we're not actually returning the comment count. So we're returning the likes, we're returning the dislikes. Technically, also, we could return... No, this is the actual ID of the user, so that's kind of fine, right? So let's get back there. So let's go to that endpoint, right? This is the front, and so let's get here. And so somewhere around here we should have that by user thought ID. So it's this one. No, update, delete, put, get thought ID. So get thought by ID, right? Leo, my friend, good day. So let's just fix this. Obviously, let's be intelligent and pragmatic. Let's not be stupid and yeah, exactly. I've been to IKEA with my wife whole day. We had to order some stuff. Include the count of comments for this thought. This thought. So let's just, yeah, Leo, yeah, it's a huge difference. No work today and stuff. It's the weekend, so I can just enjoy the stream and be, you know, be rested, right? Yeah, exactly. This is pretty much what we need, right? Just give me 1 second. Yeah, I think it should be fine. Give me 1 moment. Nice, Leo. Nice, Leo. just in case, this is my comment sequelize model. Just keep it happening, Leo. As I'm doing with this project, whenever I have the time, I join you guys, I stream, right? So it's small steps, right? Small steps every day, 20 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, any time you have. As we always discuss, right? Consistency is the key. So just stay consistent, and you know, you're gonna be feeling progress day by day by day, and one day you're gonna be like, wow, this is actually. So think about it as a grind. You know, you have a lot of those gamers who spend endless times, waste their life playing games, grinding some sword or some mount or some crap like that, right? So think about it as a grind, but you do it slowly, right? And eventually, boom, you have it, right? That's how it works. So instead of grinding video games, you just grind the life and you enjoy the process, of course, right? And yeah, and then things happen, you know, sooner than you think. Sooner than you think, right? What the fuck? Give me 2 seconds here. Ah, I see. Ah, I see. Give me a second. So this is essentially just the query that we have here. Okay, got it. Collector of stuff, exactly, man. Like the thing is, don't take. I'm not trying to be some sort of a ultimate preacher of life. I can just tell you that, you know, I've been coding now for almost 20 years, right? And professionally from 2008 for 15 years professionally. And I can tell you that based on the lessons that I learned, and I learned those lessons very late in my career, right? Consistency really is the key, right? If you know, a lot of people, when they start doing something, they get motivated for a couple of days, couple of weeks, but then eventually they give up, because you create this impression that if you start something, you need to do it 10 hours a day. But in reality, for example, if you want to start running, for example, let's take a different example. If you want to start running, you can run once a week, right? So start walking, you know. So you want to start running. Maybe you're obese, you're fat, you feel like physically weak. Start taking a walk once a week. Then walk twice a week a month later. Then walk 3 times a week. Then run once a week, right? This is how you get the habits, right? You don't start something super radically, right? And then you expect that you're gonna stay motivated. I think number 2 lesson is never try to change or do things at once, like more than one thing at once. So for example, people get motivated is like, oh, I'm gonna start the gym. So I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna change my diet, I'm gonna go to bed early, I'm gonna drink 5 liters of water a day. It's like, no, man. You can only change, and even that is hard. You can only change one thing at a time. So you wanna drink more water? Well, get used to drinking water for 4 weeks. I think statistically it takes like 3 or 4 weeks for most people to inherit a habit, but for some people it can take months, right? So you change one thing at a time, you implement it in your life, and then you Siddiq Shetty, good day, man. So you get what I mean. So if you want to learn to code, you have to start somewhere. You need to create some sort of habit, right? Start slowly, and then, you know, over time increase intensity, you know, naturally, right? All right, let's test if this now works. So like, no. So I'm gonna like this thing. I'm gonna try leaving a comment. I'm gonna refresh this. And okay, actually no, I think we should be okay-ish here. I think only thing we forgot to do, right, is I think we need to update the schema now for this fella, right? Comment count. Okay. And how did we call it in this other query? Let's make sure that we call it in a kind of in a unified way, right? So how did I call it in this big ass comment? Count. Did I call it? No, this is not the one. Actually, let's go to the feed, right? And we can see here. I mean, you know, everything in life is about balance, right? It's not about doing something hard, right? It's about doing it smart, right? Doing something hard and working smart are two different things, right? Comment count. Okay, so we actually have it's called okay, good. So yeah, let's unify this. Um, but you have to enjoy the process, Leo, right? You have to make sure that no matter what you do, try to inherit the habit so you can enjoy it, right? For example, if you read this book, it's a spiritual book. It's called The Power of Now. I think it's also free on YouTube. I would highly. I'm not spiritual at all, and I'm not religious at all. But if you listen to this book, which is free, yeah, 7 hours. I actually bought this book on Amazon Books, whatever is it called, right? There's a very good example, right? The book basically talks about how we are not living in the moment, and there's one very good metaphor that talks about how people go to work, for example, right? So what people basically do is like you wake up, you sit on a bus, and you're like, oh my god, I have to wait for the bus. Then you sit on a bus, and then you're like, ah, Jesus Christ, now I have to sit in this bus. Then you have to, switch to a train, and then you're like, ah, shit. So the point being is, this whole journey from the moment you woke up until you got to work, you're not really living, right? You're just constantly like living that way, where you only live from the moment to the final destination, right? It is really depressing. So what I'm trying to say, you cannot just live the life here and here. You have to live the life in between. So if you're learning anything new, try to make it fun for yourself, right? You cannot just keep thinking about this end goal here. It's like, one day I'm gonna be this great programmer, right? Well, you will, but until you are, right, you have to enjoy that journey. So because you can't undermine importance of life, right? Life is one, and it's pretty short, right? So no matter what you do, you don't need to study for like 10 hours, right? You don't need to do that. The way that you wrote stuff about your friend, it seems that your friend has just exhausted himself for many years, and he's now sick of it, right? Because he didn't really truly try to incorporate that in his life so he can enjoy. You don't have to study for 10 years, and you don't have to study 10 hours a day. I don't know anyone who has to study 10 hours a day, right? So you need to enjoy the life in between. Life is, you're born, and then every next day is life. You cannot just be thinking about, oh, I'm gonna do this course now, and 40 hours from now I'm gonna learn this. It's like, no, I mean, that's very kind of, yeah, it's not healthy, right? It's not scalable for life, right? You need to have balance, right? Balance is really the thing. Is nobody said that it's easy, that life is easy, right? I mean, but you can still enjoy it, right? That's my point. Thank you very much, Dang Chin. Thank you very much for the follow, right? Nobody says that is the whole beauty of thing. If things weren't hard and challenging, then you wouldn't have motivation to do them, right? So yes, things might be hard, right? But that's why they're so fun. That, when you play a video game, you don't play a video game that's easy, like, unless you like to feel superpower, like you like the challenge, right? So it's the same with life. If life was just easy, right, then I mean, you wouldn't care, right? Didn't I have? Wait a minute. Where was this count? Pagination. Okay, so it is called count. Interesting. Okay, so we're gonna pagination schema. Yeah. So get thought by ID. Yeah, so it's this guy, right? Yeah. Yeah, this guy, right? Partial user, yes. And let's just get back here and get back here. And it's a bit strange that it's called comment count here. Let's now go back here. right? So let's just fix those bugs. And today we're starting a entirely new feature. So let me just make sure that we get this right. Is this the actual thought? It is. It doesn't really have a count, does it? No. Okay. So maybe because we called it comment count here and we called it count there. So let's try this. And let's try that again. Want to share your biker? Which config, my friend? I'm willing to share anything. I'm just not sure. What do you mean? Which config are you interested to see? Yes. I mean, there's nothing really special about me. My VS Code is the most minimal. You know that I'm a minimalist, right? So I try to basically have no things shown on my screen, right? But but I can certainly, I'm super happy to share it, of course. Let's see if there's anything here. If there's anything here that I can't really share. I don't think that there is. No. All right. So let me just slam it in Discord. I'm just gonna put it here in general. No, let me actually create a gist, right? Let me create a gist. Alexander's VS Code JSON config. Shinyi on YouTube is asking, I have a web developer exam upcoming this Monday. Do you have any advices or tips? I might have some, but you need to be a bit more specific. You know, are you a junior or senior? What is it? What is the job about? Etc. Etc. Right? So I would need a bit more context, right? There is the gist. You can copy it. Now comment each line out. I think yeah. I think this is my yeah. All right, so before I continue chit-chatting, let me just fix this. I need to fix this, right? Because okay, because I wanna slam some work today in this stream, right? So let's make sure that I do that before we get into more details, right? Because I'm gonna be streaming probably for several hours now, so you know, I'm not going anywhere basically. So let me try to balance the amount of yeah. Actually, get taught by ID. Yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing, right? Aren't we? Ah, I see. Okay, give me a second. Data values, author, likes, dislikes, comments. A junior position, Isumi Miyamura, good day. Just some people writing on YouTube, guys. They're not here in Twitch, so I'm just greeting them. It's a junior position with React and Laravel. I mean, you know, my advice would be that you probably, I don't know what the company is and what how experienced the interviewer is, but either way, you know, make sure that you understand long-term versus short. I would ask you about short-term versus long-term state. Which state management ways did you learn? How do you manage your state, right? Exactly, biker. So how do you manage your state? You know, make sure. So actually, today or tomorrow, I'm gonna record a video on recruiting on exactly those questions. So let me just spend 1 minute on this. So the main thing that you want to make sure that you don't do in an interview. Let me tell you what most people that I interview do. So this is what they do. So you come in an interview with me, right? And I ask you, so for example, I can see that you used Redux in your challenge. So I gave you a challenge, like a code challenge, and you used Redux, right? And I asked you, hey, why did you use Redux? And you tell to me like, oh, well, it's so much better than, I don't know, something, right? And then I ask you, oh, really? Okay, so why is it better, right? And then you don't know, right? You can't reason about it. So let me just keep this short. Never give answers to something that can be turned into questions that you can't answer. So this is the biggest lesson you have to learn when it comes to interviews. So hear me out, right? Don't say things in the interview where I can stop you and say, so for example, Shinyi, let's imagine you're going into your junior position interview with this React and Laravel, right? And, I ask you, hey, Shinyi, why are you using Laravel and not Go, right? Or Node.js? And you say something like, oh, because Laravel is so much faster, right? Maybe you read an article somewhere. That might or might not be true. It's irrelevant if it's true, right? And then I ask you, oh, really? Like, what do you mean it's faster, right? And then you say, oh, well, I read this thing. So in simple words, don't give broad, general answers in your interviews if you're unable to reason about it. Because I would stop you and say, oh, really? Okay. Because, for example, in the interviews that I had, I would interview a person and I would say, hey, you're using Angular. Is like, why? And it's like, yeah, it's so much better than React or something like that, right? And then I say, okay, can you elaborate a bit? Well, you really can't. So just remember, every single answer you give can be an interviewer's next question, right? So an interviewer can say, oh, really? What is it about? So first advice, Shinyi, is if you don't know something in an interview, say, okay, I'm sorry, I don't know. I've heard about it, I read it in an article, I watched a YouTube video, I don't know, and I'm gonna, check it out after this interview. So what I'm trying to say, interviews are not only there to test your technical knowledge, right? They're there. So for example, if I was interviewing you, Shinyi, I would want to know how do you deal with the questions that you don't have the answer for. I would try to see, are you being defensive? Are you being honest and saying, hey, no, I actually don't know, Alex, I'm gonna learn, So it's very important to understand that interview process isn't there just so you're a perfect coder, right? Because the company that's going to give you a job, they know that you can learn what a React hook is in 3 days. But what the company doesn't know is that, are you an asshole who is super proud and is your character sucks or not? And they know that you can't fix that in 3 days. So I'm always going to hire a person that fails some interview in the context of the technical things, because if a person doesn't know what a fucking React context is, who gives a crap? I'm going to sit with that person for 2 seconds and they're going to know what a React context is. So it's way more important in the interviews that you focus on how do you elaborate your thoughts, how articulated you are, how do you get feedback, are you getting defensive when you get feedback, are you are you being offensive? Are you being triggered? So keep your, emotions in check. Be kind. When you don't know something, say, I don't, or ask a question. It's like, oh, sorry, can you elaborate? If you're doing a, live challenge on a whiteboard or whatever, ask for help. Don't shut yourself down, right? So it's very important in those interviews that interviewers see that you're able to, when you don't know something, that you can actually process that you can continue you can throw the ball to the interviewer. It's like, so this is kind of, so Shinyi, those are the tips I can give you. And now, probably when it comes to technical part, for example, when it comes to, full stack that you're interviewing for, when it comes to Laravel, right, I would probably ask you about how do you do error handling, right? How do you validate the input? So when it comes to APIs, there are few crucial things, right, to ask. No, it's technology agnostic. It doesn't matter if you're writing Rust or Go or Node or PHP. If I'm talking about APIs, I would ask you, hey, can you tell me how do you generally validate your input and output in Laravel, for example? What is your error handling strategy, right? How do you handle graceful shutdowns, how, et cetera, et cetera. How do you deal with the client and connections to databases or other services? And in the front end, in this context, React, right? I would probably ask you about state management, which is the most important, right? The only hard thing when it comes to UI is the state. Everything else is just a bunch of gibberish, some CSS, some event handlers and stuff. So the chances that you're going to get asked about state management is like 100%. So there's a 100% chance that you're going to be asked about how do you handle state? What is the difference between short-term and long-term state? Okay, you're handling your state in this way. Why are you doing it versus this other way? So you're using Redux for everything. All right, why? What is the benefit of that? What is the downside of that? What is the et cetera, et cetera. So state is going to be 100% in React. And then in your backend, most likely it's going to be things like this, right? So I hope that helps. I think that kind of summarizes my response. And I'm going to get some of the coffee now. All right. Darren, bold win. Good day, man. It goes good, goes good. I'm just content. Okay, let me just print this thing now. Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that I was refreshing when I was talking. Yeah, Vita for sure, absolutely, yes. It's so much faster than it's so much faster, right? And Arcadia, my friend, good day. It's so much faster than Webpack. I think, well, Webpack, I assume, is dead, right? Yeah, Darren. The front end is in React, yes. The client side is in React, yes. You're absolutely right, yes. And let me just see, where is my stuff now? Author comments. We're still getting the comments. So is this actually... yeah, Shinny, right now I'm streaming to Twitch and YouTube, yes. So most people that I'm talking to now, they're writing messages on Twitch. Yes, that's correct. Actually, how do I... It's Fastify, yes. Fastify, I'm actually contributing to Fastify is my favorite Node.js tool right now. So definitely Fastify. That Fastify is absolutely amazing, right? I think it's the best thing that happened to Node.js since I know Node.js. And it's almost since very early days. Express for me, 100% Darren. Literally what I wanted to say. Literally what I wanted to say. And thank you everybody for your follows and all of that cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, Express is a project that's obsolete, right? Express is, I mean, I still maintain at my job, we still have some services written in Express, and I have my own services, some of them very old ones, some of them are a decade old, and for that reason, right? Exactly. How do you incorporate, I mean, I'm using ChatGPT Millie since day one, right? It's the best thing, it's a miracle, right? ChatGPT for me is, if you're not using ChatGPT, you are basically shooting yourself in the knee already. How did I incorporate it? I use it in VS Code through the plugin. I mostly use it in the browser, right, like this, and I literally abuse it on daily basis. ChatGPT is absolutely right. Is right. Yeah. So Darren, you can migrate. There's a Fastify team has built Fastify Express module, and you can easily like map it, and then over time just remove the module. It's insane. Like ChatGPT is, for me, is literally a miracle. It's like the best thing that ever happened in my lifetime, right? It's unreal. So let me show you one thing, right? So now, just for those of you who don't know, I'm building a social knowledge sharing platform for software engineers, right? Just so you can have the context. So this is what I'm building, right? And the next feature that I'm gonna build, right, is the courses, right? It's this feature. So today we're gonna start building courses as part of this platform, right? So how did I start? Well, obviously I started by, asking ChatGPT to break down, to break this whole project into tasks, right? Because obviously last thing we're gonna start doing is coding, right? We need to plan, we need to figure out what do we want to build. So, I said for my social knowledge sharing platform that I told you about for software engineers, I'm about to start building a courses feature that you suggested. Can you break down a plan for me on how to approach it technically with Fastify, Postgres, and React, right? So how great is this, right? I mean, obviously, if I didn't use ChatGPT, I would do this myself. But how much time does this save you, right? And then further down, I kind of went back and forth with it, is like shared some ideas about how I think my tables should look like, la la la. And then ChatGPT is like, oh, okay, that's a good idea. This is what I think about it, right? La 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 la, right? So seriously, guys, if you're watching me now and you're not using ChatGPT, you're literally shooting yourself in the knee. Don't do that to yourself. You have to. I cannot express how crucial it is for everybody to use this tool. Because if you don't use it, someone else will, and they're going to be 10x, 50x more time productive than you are, right? Because even this thing that I just showed you saved me probably several hours just of admin time, just of the time creating tasks, writing the plan, right? La la la. Darren, yes, you can use TypeScript. So when I started Programmer Network project, TypeScript support for Fastify barely existed. So maybe in a couple of weeks, we will actually switch our Fastify code base to TypeScript, actually. And Shinyi, yes, actually there is a plan. I'm going to start soon. Actually, so my plan right now is this. So I'm about to record a Fastify course. I've actually already prepared a lot of stuff I'm going to show you. And then next course I'm going to be doing is React, which is also why I want us to build the courses as part of this platform. And then the first course that's going to be recorded for Programmer Network platform is actually going to be my course, right? No, you can't, Darren. No. I don't think so, no. I don't think you can, no. It's going to be free, of course. Everything that I'm doing, including this stream, is to get you guys to sign up on Programmer Network, right? So everything that I'm going to be doing is always going to be free for me gaining people, attracting people to this platform. And this is a long-term project. This is going to take years, right? I'm talking about Programmer Network. So that's why I'm streaming. I mean, I have nothing from Twitch. Twitch is a useless platform that, I mean, I can make, as I said before, I can make more money in 1 hour consulting than in a whole year here on Twitch, right? So Twitch for me is having fun with you guys, making friends, and also advertising this thing that I'm building and getting feedback from you guys. So that is the value that I get from it. If it came to money, I mean, this is hilariously useless, right? I mean, my 4 years old son could make more money selling a lemon, in our yard in 2 days than I make in a whole year in this platform, right? So it's ridiculous, right? But anyway, so the Fastify course basically is going to be in the making soon. As soon as we finish the courses feature for Programmer Network, then I'm going to start recording I don't know why the Google Slides are super slow. They're opening incredibly slow, but either way, yeah, okay. So, commentable type thought. All right, let's just validate our code. Twitch takes 50%. So if you would subscribe now, Leo, Twitch would take 50%. So it's ridiculous, right? I mean, unless you're in high school or something and you want to make some pocket money, right? Then Twitch is fine, I think it takes 50% of everything, yes. Ah, I see, I see. Millie, not yet. Actually, I think in a couple of streams from now, I want to use it for to automatically tag the thoughts and articles. So just to show you, so in Programmer Network, right, we have thoughts. So we have a feed, and this is like Twitter's tweets. We're just calling it thoughts because it's like share your thought, what's on your mind. So for example, you can say, hey, you know, I just started, you know, learning, and then you can tag JavaScript, for example, right? So I think first thing that I'm gonna do with ChatGPT APIs, I'm gonna make sure that the ChatGPT scans your text right before you post, and then it automatically figures out which tag should this belong to, right? So instead of asking people, you know, people sometimes, you know, for example, forget to. So for example, I can say, hey, you know, Rust is a horrible language, right? But I didn't really tag this now. You know, you're supposed to literally, you know, tag it like this. And people forget this, right? So I think I'm going to use the API to just as like, hey, ChatGPT, take this as an input. I mean, we don't really need ChatGPT for that, right? What we could do, I could just scan, I can just break this text into kind of words and then try to match one of the words with our available tags, right? So we don't really need... I wanted to trigger somebody because everybody is talking about Rust, so I just wanted to do the opposite. So yeah, so we're gonna. So this is. So I have prepared the Fastify course. I'm gonna actually. Numinex, good day, my friend. So this is gonna be the first course that I'm gonna record when we have the courses feature here built. Okay, so let's copy paste the code. That's what I'm really good at. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Beautiful. I like copy pasting code from this thing. It's a magic. It's like a magic, man. So good. So good. So freaking good. NSD, buddy. Good day. Numinex, the plan for today is fix 2 or 3 of those tiny bugs we have and then start the courses feature. So we're going to build the courses feature. So we have to first we have to first we have to do like some low fidelity mockups. We have to lay down some tasks. We need to figure out the user story, how we want the feature to work, and then we're going to start coding it. But we're going to start coding it when we break the whole project into smaller tasks, right? So if you're new to programming, right, the best tip I can give you now for the rest of your career, right, when you get a feature, right, let me just, I think this could be interesting, especially for junior people, but also senior, right? So let's just talk about it for a second, right? So let's imagine that you're working on Programmer Network with me, right? And I tell you, hey, you know, build feature X, right? So I tell you, hey, you know, Millie, NSD, build the feature X, right? So what do you do first? Well, especially this is common for very inexperienced developers, right? First thing that people would do is like start coding. This obviously is wrong because you should always be doing this last. So Alex told me to build feature X. So what do I do first? Well, first I research and check, you know, if there's similar features to this that I can learn from, right? So I research other products and stuff too, right? Once you get the preliminary research and stuff, you know, well, let's assume, you know, the feature X is the specification, but specification means nothing. Specification usually is super long, right? Specification looks like this, right? It's a bunch of stuff. In this feature, we want this and that and that. But you can't start building that. You can't just say, okay, let me start coding. So what do you have to do? Well, you need to break that feature into manageable tasks so you can do continuous integration and deployment, right? So what you have to do is ask yourself, you know, how do I break this feature down so I can merge it every day? So how can I start building something and merging it every day step by step so I don't end up with a feature of 7,000 lines of code that somebody has to review, because that's impossible. So how do you help yourself, and how do you help your colleagues? Well, you help yourself by saying, okay, this is a grand plan, this is where we want to end up eventually, but how do I actually start coding that? Well, you start coding that by breaking it into a bunch of very small tasks, right? So you need to learn. I mean, you know, many of you maybe now are gonna be like, I do that every time, of course. I mean, I do all of this by the book, but that's fucking bullshit. Like, of course you don't do this. I know that you don't do this, right? Because there's no engineering category in the world, like software engineering, where engineering is done in such an opposite way. In every other engineering category, engineers always build last. If you think about mechanical engineering, if you think about construction, everything is always done last. Only software engineers start coding things up front. We're the only engineers, right? That's right. So you need to learn to break things down. You need to take a story, you need to take a feature, and you need to know how to break it down so you can keep pushing it, because that's what continuous deployment and integration is. You need to keep pushing that stuff out for review every single day, and the person that reads that needs to be able to make sense of that small tiny fragment of things. So basically, in simple words, if you were to visualize that, right, this would be the feature, right? Imagine this is the feature, right? But then this is how you break it down. So imagine this is a feature, and then you break it into all of those small boxes, right? So this is one commit or one branch, this is another, and then eventually, as you keep pushing this, you know, then all of those boxes are filled, and then this whole feature is done, right? So, and this is hard. I mean, this is really hard. I mean, this sounds like logical. Oh, I do this. Nobody does this properly because it's really hard. You need to learn how do you break those things in a meaningful way, because also, right, so let's imagine like you're building a feature X, right? Well, build, you know, version 1 of that feature, right? Try to find some sort of MVP of that, right? Then build, you know, version 2, right? But how this is only possible if you know how to build this, so you can add this on top of it, etc., etc. So this is almost an art, and it's very hard to do, right? Well, I mean, the thing is, I don't think that, so it's true, right, that software is not a bridge, and it's true that physics don't apply to it, but it means very little, right? It doesn't really matter, right? Because you're making an assumption that bridge collapsing is worse than software collapsing, right? And that assumption is if you ask most people, they would agree with that, but that assumption is meaningless, right? Because bridge collapsing is only worse for the person that was on that bridge, right? And they're now dead. But for a guy who works in you know, Silicon Valley or in Wall Street, and they just lost 10 billion, right? You know, so it's really, right? Exactly. So I mean, so the thing is, I don't think that that those are comparable at all. Just because, for example, some laws that don't apply to software engineering, it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be treated as an engineering, right? Because engineering isn't code. Code is the product of engineering. You know, when we talk about construction or mechanical engineering, engineering isn't necessarily just that end product that you know, ends somewhere on the shelves, right? The cog that you make of metal, right? So so you know, the craft has to come last in many circumstances. So that's why I say, you know, how you approach your tasks, your features. You know, do you like, hey Alex, you know, I need to build feature X, right? All right, let me start coding. So, and what do you do? And why a lot of software sucks, right? This is why it sucks. So if we draw this into those boxes, right? Let me do it again, right? So you start to build feature X, right? So now we're building X, and this is how this is how software is built when you just start building things. You build a bit of this, right? And then you build a bit of this, and then you build a bit of this. This is done. This piece here is done 81%. This feature is done. This subsystem of that feature is done 90%. This one is done 40%, right? So you're building now a feature and you're jumping back and forth, like you don't know what the hell you're doing because you haven't broken this into tasks. So you're like, you finalize this, you think that you finalized it, but you actually didn't. Then you move to this guy here, and then this, and then yeah, sure, this eventually ends up filled in your opinion, but there's a bunch of stuff missing. It's like 60% missing from here, 19% from here, 5% of something, right? I'm using percentages of because you didn't really plan this, right? Because you're jumping back and forth because you don't have the context, you don't have the knowledge, you don't know the side effects, you didn't even try to minimize them, right? Of course that you will never start the task where you know everything. That's impossible. You will never know everything. That's if we knew everything when we build software, well, the whole internet would be perfect. But you want to minimize this. At least you want to know, okay, what is this about? What is this about? What is this about? What are the potential side effects of all of those boxes, right? But do we need to break small features if you think like feature adding button to? No, not necessarily. I mean, Leo. I mean, this applies to this applies to projects, right? Because every time in any reasonable company, right, you're gonna get some project. You're gonna say, hey guys, this quarter we have those objectives and key results. If you don't know what it is, so objectives and key results. So this is called OKRs, right? So this is generally how you want to work. No matter where you work, this is how you want to work. So you want to use OKRs, right? So what does this mean? Well, so this is how we work at Dream Data. This is how we work where I work, right? So my CTO, CEO, product manager, and maybe engineering lead, let's call it EL, they sit together, right? Give me 1 second. So those 4 guys sit together every quarter, and they say, hey guys, this quarter we want to do this. We want to improve amount of users who are using our product, right? Whatever. We want to improve conversion rate of our sign-up form. We want to, increase the number of this and that. So, and then, they break this into projects, and then they come with those projects to teams, and they say, I'm a tech lead in my own team where I work, so they come to me and say, Alex, my PM, his name is Steen in my company, he comes with me and he says, Alex, those are the OKRs for your team this quarter. You need to improve this, you need to improve that, right? And then my team now, expert team in the field of whatever the field is, we now need to break this down. So what does it mean to improve? What does it mean to improve this percentage of users? We need to figure out. This is how we work. So at my work, nobody comes to me and says, take those tasks and do them, because I'm not a tool, right? I'm an engineer. So you don't have to come to me with the proposals or features. You come to me with a problem, and then I come with a solution with my team. And that's how we work with the OKRs, right? So Steen comes to me and says, hey, good dude, hey, Alex, your team needs to improve this number. And then I sit with my team in a couple of workshops and we say, okay, guys, what can we do? Oh, well, we can notify people by email to do this. We can show them some alert every X period in the app, blah, blah, blah. And then we break that OKR into a project, right? You break it out into a project, and then we break this into meaningful tasks. So how can we improve things as quickly as possible with the minimum effort as possible? Because when you're solving problems, you need to solve them quickly and validate that the solution that you think is to that problem actually a valid solution. Because you cannot spend 2 months building something that you don't know is going to solve a problem. So why is it important to be able to break those tasks down? Because you need to come with version 1 of solution one very fast, right? So you need to come up with something within a week or two. That's how we work. So within a week, not 2 weeks, 1 week tops, we need to come with an OKR version 1 out. So we need to make some assumption. Is this working, Steen? It is. All right. Well, let's now pump it up with better UI, more features, la la la, right? You cannot build features like this where you get like this 2 week, 3 week sprint. You're building some gibberish. You're building it. You have no idea what you're doing. You then release it and you're like, is this gonna work? All right, let's see. Ah, shit. This actually doesn't work, but no worries. We only spent 3 weeks on this crap, right? So if you don't know what OKRs are, and in this context, why is it so important to learn how to break the tasks down, right? I highly advise you to... Yeah, here it is. I highly advise you to take a look at this framework of work. So here it is, right? So let's... Numinix, sure, man, absolutely. So let me show you, right? So this is fundamental when you're doing anything in life, right? Oh, so you have some objectives. It's like, let's imagine all of us here in the chat, we worked for Programmer Network. We are all there. And then I'm sitting there as some imaginary CEO and I tell you guys, you know, hey guys, we have only 7% of people who come to our website, they sign up. So 93% of people just leave. So only 7% sign up. And then we say, we need to get that number to 25%. We need, out of 100%, we need 30% of people to sign up. And then which team is responsible for this? Probably some web application team. So I go to the application team and I say, guys, we have a super low conversion number of people who come to the website. We need from 7%, we need to move that number to 25%. Generally, you set those expectations very high because you barely reach them. So you want to say we want to get 30% of users to sign up. Now it's 7%. And then if we reach 25, that's great. So this is the objective. This is the objective. Now, I don't come to you with the proposals how to solve it because you're the expert. I'm a CEO or CTO. I don't have the time to manage 20 different teams, right? I mean, if I would tell every single team what they have to do, then what would I be doing, right? So I give this to a team, right? And then it's like, how will we know that we're improving, right? What can we measure on? So the most fundamental thing about objectives and key results is that you're able to measure if something works. And most businesses today, unfortunately, they can't. Somebody out there, some asshole comes to you, is like, let's do this. You don't actually know why you're doing it. You don't know if it's actually going to work. Like for example, let's imagine you work in a company and your product manager tells, hey guys, we need to refactor the whole app. And you're like, yeah, well, why? Well, we think that if this was looking a bit better, that we might, get more users. But that's bullshit, man. That's useless, right? You're making an assumption that by doing something, so in order to be able to do objectives and key results, you unfortunately have to set up your business or your application and stuff in such a way to be able to measure. And to be able to measure, you need to have some analytics. So for example, I'm not suggesting that you track, that you use, user identifiable data and need to deal with GDPR and stuff like that. But I'm saying that's why some analytics on the website are useful, right? So for example, on Programmer Network, I state there that we're not going to track users, and we will not. But it's very important to know the context when somebody says, hey, I will not track you, Leo. What I mean by that is that I will never associate you or your user identifiable data with the system or any third party to be able to say, hey, this is Leo. So I will do some, analytics.page and identify and track when you do something, but I'm not going to know it was Leo. I'm going to know that some user has went somewhere, and this is what I need to make the product better for you as well. Because if I see that Leo and 95% other users are never going to this specific part of the app, then I know, okay, well, this is probably not working. People are not using this, right? So either way, this whole thing that I'm talking about here relates to why is it so important to get better at breaking things down. Because in order to apply any reasonable framework of work that you can measure and do and, you know, ship fast and fail fast, you need to be able to break things down, right? So even if your business did measure everything today, right, you need to have engineers who are able to take large projects, large stories, and then break them into meaningful things that they can get out very quickly, right? And you know, think about it. I think it's a good discussion. Read a bit about this, suggest it to your organization. I think I personally could not imagine working for a company today without using OKRs. Of course, there's a danger to this. There's a danger of OKRs when you add them to some teams that, so for example, your HR team, they will also use this OKR system. And some OKRs can be quite stupid, right? Like, you know, we are human resources, and one of our OKRs this quarter is to hire 50 people. That's kind of lame, right? I mean, that's useless. But for the engineers and for the product side, I think you want to definitely use this. Okay. Whew. Jesus Christ, man! I need a glass of water. I'm dead. I don't know where you live. I would not advise you to practice algorithms and data structures at all. But this is a very ignorant kind of thing that I'm telling you. So be careful if you listen to it or not. But either way, I would never ask you, if I was interviewing you, I would never ask you questions about algorithms and data structures, because personally, to me, they're completely useless, right? So, so if I was interviewing you, I wouldn't care, which doesn't mean that, and most interviews that I had past 15 years, people wouldn't ask me that gibberish, right? So, I'm by no means any influencer. I don't give a shit about Twitch or any of this. I'm here to have fun with you guys, and you give me feedback on the things. So I'm going to say the way the things are. If you want to be a 10x, let me tell you, there's this massive, huge misconception in community of programming. Please listen to this advice, and please try to internalize it. If you want to be a 10x developer, let me tell you what a 10x developer is. 10x developer has nothing to do with algorithms and data structures, perfect code, any of that crap. Just remember this forever. 10x developer is a person that builds a business value that's useful to the organization, that helps other teams, etc., etc., etc. So if you want to be good, nobody gives a tiny fuck if you know how to traverse a graph or some shit like that. Just remember this. Nobody gives a crap. If you want to be a 10x or whatever, those hilarious terms that we use, you need to be productive, you need to focus on the customers, and you need to focus on the business. If you can focus on those three things, you're going to be the developer that every company wants. This bullshit lead code and this crap, if you can provide the value to organization, you're going to be 10x. Your salary is going to grow, you're going to be getting raises and stuff like that. Nobody, your CTO or whatever, nobody gives a tiny fuck if you know data structures and algorithms, because that provides zero value to everybody. When a customer comes to your website, to your product, they either like it and it solves their issues, and they can solve this tiny fragment of million other things they have to do today, or not. So everything else is just a sweaty basement dwellers, you know, sweating over useless crap. Nobody cares, man. Trust me. If you want to be good in this industry, be productive, provide value, or let me just put it this way. If you have a company, if you start a tech company, any of you, what would you like? How would you perceive a perfect programmer in your organization to be? Be honest with yourself. You're now giving massive salary to someone. What would you want them to be? You would want them to ship features fast, to focus on the value, to find the balance between code and value. It's not mutually exclusive, of course. I'm not saying write shit code, right? I'm saying it's not mutually exclusive. It doesn't mean that if you provide value that you have to write crap code, but you have to find the balance where you're going to lose time in useless, PR comments. It's like, why did you use const instead of let? And shit like this, right? You have to learn to find balance between value and code. Because no matter what type of code you write today, in 5 years, somebody's going to read that and it's going to be like, oh my God, who wrote this gibberish? It's like, this always happens. Just go to any legacy code that's 5 years old now in your organization and tell me what you think about that code. And 5 years ago, when some sweaty basement dwellers wrote that, they also thought, it's like, oh, I wrote this function. It's so beautiful. It's one-liner. It's only, 3 keywords or whatever, right? So focus on the value, right? Focus on, and if you're ever in doubt, just ask yourself, how would I want developers that I employ in my own company to be? Would I want them to waste time on some arbitrary fucking elite crap things? Or would I want them to actually build features? And I think if you're ever in doubt, just ask that question. I think it's quite clear, right? With this rise of AI, and I think one thing that people undermine today, especially developers, is this. In 5 or 10 years from now, remember this. Your soft skills, your articulation skills, your all other skills except programming are going to be way highly more valuable than your coding skills. Please remember this. I'm 1,000,000% certain. Because I know when I hire people today, I way more care about them being good people, open people, people willing to learn, nice people, than being perfect basement dwellers. So in 5-10 years from now, because nobody is going to care even more about algorithms and data structures, because you're going to go to ChatGPT, you're going to ask a question in 3 seconds, and you're going to get a perfect response that you can't solve anyway. So focus on your articulation, focus on critical thinking, focus on problem-solving skills. My favorite Einstein's quote goes something like this. He said, if I had an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes looking for the right questions to ask. So this is what Einstein said, I don't know, fucking 80 years ago, or I don't know, right? So if I had an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes looking for the right questions to ask. I think as I see this AI growing more and more, I think that it's more and more evident how crucial it's going to be for us in order to beat this AI, to think critically and think in some other ways. So instead of thinking through code, right? Work on it. Because again, I think all of us can see this already, right? All of us can see those things already. Let's not deceive ourselves. No matter which programming problem you have, paste it into the AI and it's going to solve it in 3 seconds. So this is not a matter of opinion, this is a fact, which means that only an insane person in your organization would ask you to solve that problem when you have a tool. Imagine this. Imagine now you have a math problem and your employer doesn't allow you to use a calculator, right? How ridiculous would that be? It's like, no, you have to solve that problem manually. Like, why would you use it's the same thing with this. Who the fuck is going to ask you to implement an algorithm anymore? I mean, what are you talking about, right? It's going to be like, oh, I need a shell sort or some bullshit, type it in, there you have it. So it's not a matter of opinion, it's just factual. If I have a company, if I would see a fucking developer implementing an algorithm manually, I would be like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Are you crazy? Like, build the feature, for customers. We need to sell this shit. We need to pay salaries, right? I don't need you to... Not true, no. We don't need to build better tools. We need a fraction of people. The thing is, you have to understand this. You have to decide for yourself, what type of developer are you? Are you the developer that likes to build tools, or are you a developer who likes to build products? Because those two are vastly different. For example, if you're a Dan Abramov, this guy who made Redux or whatever, his brain every day is thinking about, oh, Chrome has released this new API. let's play with it, right? Because that's his job. He's not more brilliant than any of you or us are here. It's his job to pay attention to the APIs and stuff and build tools. But his brain is not thinking about the customer, right? My brain at my work, every day I'm thinking, okay, how can I make the product that, where I work better for the customers that I'm serving? So it's vastly different things. I have to make this product useful by the real people, and people who are building tools, they have to make sure that they build tools for developers to use. But it's just maybe tiny fraction of the actual developers who are building tools. So the chance that you're gonna end up being a developer that builds tools is super, super low. So there's probably 95% chance that in your career, you're gonna be working in some small shitty company, you're gonna be building some small shitty software that solves a fragment of problem that some customer has, right? So of course we are all having wet dreams. I see those game developers, like most game developers, right? It's like, I want to build video games, so let me build a game engine. It's like, no, man, if you wanted to build video games, you would be using 5 billion game engines already. You don't want to be building video games. You want to be building tools. Because if you want to be building video games, man, what are you talking about? What freaking, game engine? I mean, why would you even do that, right? So exactly, Numinix. Yes, let me just, can you say the same thing for backend? I actually, Gabs, I disagree. Gabs, I must disagree. I think this applies even more to web devs, right? Sorry, I think that this applies even more to backend developers. You also have to be more specific. What do you mean by backend, right? Because you have tools already for 15 years now that can generate the whole APIs based on JSON, right? So, so you have to be a bit more specific, right? But I disagree. When you say backend engineers, what do you mean backend, right? Backend is like saying medicine, right? So I wouldn't think so. No. Yeah, but that's what for business. Yeah, but also you need to be a bit more specific, right? Yeah. Again, I mean, disciple or whatever, right? You have to understand, right? I only share my personal experience, right? Or personal opinion based on my experience. I share this, I've been building startups since 2008. I've been working since 2008 every single month, right? So this is my personal experience with working of probably so far with hundreds of different people, right? Is that no matter where I worked, no matter what I did, every single CTO, every single CEO, they valued output, not some theoretical bullshit, right? So in simple words, I'm not sharing my opinion based on what I wish that it is. I just feel that what I'm saying is what I think how it actually is today, right? Because for example, a lot of developers today, right? The biggest issue, right, with especially junior developers, or especially the developers who have a higher opinion of their skills than they are actually skilled, because it's easy, right? One of my favorite sayings is like, everybody can say it, but very few can do it, right? Because in programming specifically, a lot of people, especially junior developers, they can talk a lot. They read those blogs, they watch their streamers. They're gonna tell you, oh my God, memory, managing memory in Rust is so great, right? And then you ask them, well, what did you ever build in Rust, right? And then the answer is nothing, right? Well, what did you ever build in C? Well, nothing. Well, what did you ever build, ever? Well, I've tried this. I'm not asking you what you tried, man. I'm asking you what you built. Because it's fundamentally different talking about some crap and trying something in a Hello World app, and then working in a real business that has all of the other side effects, right? And side effects of the business are what drives the software development, not vice versa. Business is not waiting for your software. It's quite the opposite. It's like your business is operating, paying salaries, employing people. Your business is not waiting for you. You have to deliver for business. So we can all stay in this bubble of perfection, coding, performance, and stuff. In reality, we talk about scale. We talk about, oh, Go is so much faster than Node.js. But how many of you have actually ever worked in a company where you had 10,000 requests a second? Not millions, right? So a lot of this bullshit is so theoretical, and it only applies to us developers. And that's why nobody cares, because everybody's talking about some concurrency and performance is like, type safe. What are you talking about, man? How many people in this chat have ever worked in a company, right? Is like have actually had tens of thousands of users that they had to maintain their product about, right? Probably very few, if any, right? Deploying to Netlify is one thing, hosting Linux server with Docker. I mean, if you're a senior developer and you can't use Docker and stuff like that, then what is it to say, right? Okay, well, that's how it is, right? That's how it is. Let's kind of try to fix some stuff. That's what it is. Of course, man. And most developers do. Most developers actually do that, right? Those 10x people that people working for Google, for example, and stuff, that's exactly what they do, right? That's how it works, right? So for example, this Deadly Seas, this product, I have done everything myself, right? So the whole infrastructure is running in Docker and Hetzner. I have set up firewalls on different levels, on a networking level, on a server level. So everything is done by a single person pretty much in that sense. So I'm not using I'm not using GCP, AWS, Netlify, any of that, simply because of, well, cost reasons and some other reasons, right? But in general, right, nobody really cares. I guess my point is like, no matter how I did my stuff, here, when you come to this programmer network, you're like, what the fuck is this crap, man? I have this feed, I have a profile. Why would I ever come back here? What you're not saying is like, oh my God, Alex hosted this on Docker, on Hetzner, it's so fast. This profile opened in 2 microseconds. Nobody says that. You come here and you're like, all right, he has a feed, articles, programmers, whatever. I'll come back in a year, So you get what I mean? So even you developers, you don't come here and you're like, none of you come here and says like, shit, he used Tailwind. That's why I'm going to use this product. Or, oh, he's using React. If he was using Angular, I would totally not log in here. It's like, that's the point that I'm trying to make. At the end of the day, we need to find balance as developers between value and between productivity. Because again, if you want to be highly productive, well-established engineer, because again, I think in our field, we have a lot of those Twitter heroes. We have a lot of those influencer developers. They tweet about perfection. They tweet about all of those perfect tools and all of the perfect ways of writing perfect software. But that is just their perception because that's literally their brand. They have to do that. They're feeding you the content based on their own persona, their own business. Like, so if a person is building tools, clearly they're gonna make those tools the most important, right? Yeah, exactly. So, but in reality, for the rest of us who have to go to work and, work with one, have another teammate and, Yeah, exactly. So this is kind of why also, I've been streaming now for 6 7 months, and that's why I also don't have so many viewers, because I don't want to fucking give you bullshit, right? I come here, I write some things, I try to build things, I try to put, my money where my mouth is, in a sense. It's like, it's easy to come and it's like, oh my god, why didn't you use this database? It's like, dude, shut the fuck up, man. Build a whole social platform yourself, host it, build the infrastructure, build the CI and CD and all of that, and then come back. It's like, so I don't want to be like this fucking, a Twitch hero, oh, when I was born, I was writing perfect code, and I mean, come on, bro, right? So it's there's a reality, and then there's this bubble dream that we're living in, discussing which framework is faster or whatever, right? And then you have people literally who build some mock-up in jQuery and they raise like $20 million for their product idea. How ridiculous is that, right? Exactly. 100%. 100%. Well, with that said, with that said, let's try to fix this bug, and then do something else, maybe. Okay. So are we failing here? Numinex, I'm hosting everything myself, right? So I'm hosting everything on, actually, let me try to show it to you. Give me 1 second. Let me try to find that. So essentially, this is my infrastructure right now, right? And it's purely manual. So this is running on Hetzner. So I have this Hetzner server. If I actually try opening this, hopefully. So anyway, I'm paying this CX41 on Hetzner. So this is kind of CX41. I don't actually where it is, but it's CX41. So it's hosted here. I'm running the React app on Cloudflare pages. I have Nginx reverse proxy and rate limiter here before the actual server. I have Fastify API. I have Postgres database. I have the app Smith. I use this for internal dashboards. I'm trying to build product, not internal dashboards. So, for example, the worst thing as a startup that you can do is you can have some shitty product manager who tells you, it's like, hey, Alex, we need those dashboards, just for us so we can do content, create whatever. No. So if you need dashboards at an early days of startup or even mid or late days, you want to use AppSmith, you want to use Retool, you want to use dashboard builders. So what do I do with this thing? So in my infrastructure here, I have AppSmith that has direct access to my Postgres database on Hetzner. I kind of enabled it in a firewall, right? Oh shit, I'm not supposed to show this. So now here, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Okay. So here now, right, I can build dashboards, right? I can build dashboards without writing any code. And how do I build the dashboards? Well, I just hook them up to some queries. For example, you saw I can have a user table. So basically tools like AppSmith or Retool, you use those things, right, to manage things, right? So as it says, for example, you have AppSmith, right? And no, I don't think so, man. No, I don't think so. No. I think GDPR is something else, right? But right, so this is kind of what you want to do. Nobody saw that at all, yeah. So if we go back here, right? So this is kind of, so if we go back here, right? So this is kind of my infrastructure. Right now, pretty simple. And actually, we are missing one thing here. We're also missing, we're using Redis now as well. So let's actually update this. So let's just say here, Redis. Well, actually, So this is their infrastructure now. Very simple, relatively simple, just all running in Docker behind some firewalls. So everything is put behind Cloudflare IP ranges, right? So what you generally do to prevent people hitting your API directly, whatever, you put your API behind Cloudflare, and you just put it behind those IP ranges, and then the traffic can only come to your actual API through Cloudflare IPs. Why do you do this? Because of DDoS prevention, because of various other reasons, right? Et cetera, right? All right, well, that's it. That's how it is. If you're not using Retool, or AppSmith, and you're building your app, just remember this random advice is just because we came to this. Never build dashboards. Build your product. If you need internal dashboards, you use tools like this, and then you hook them up to your database or to your APIs, depending how much. I would definitely suggest, if you're not alone, don't actually expose your database to those tools, expose APIs, and then validate your APIs, right? Also Grafana. Grafana is also great, exactly. Yeah. Exactly, Deadly Seas, exactly. That's why I didn't go with those. Yes, exactly. Is it possible to spoof IP address and bypass Cloudflare? I think it is. Yes, Theo. I think it is. Again, the thing is, when you're building software, right, or infrastructure, whatever, you build it the best you can. Because there's often there's a small fragment of people who gonna try to find anything and shit on it. I remember a few weeks ago or months ago when ChatGPT was released, for me, it was a miracle, and it still is. But then you had those fucking assholes who were like, oh my god, I gave it this trick input and then it failed. Like, dude, shut the fuck up, man. You contributed 0 to this amazing technology. 0. And you're already complaining about it. It's like, dude, how quickly did you find something wrong with it? It's like, Jesus Christ, man. It's like, oh my fucking god, man. Like, it's a miracle, man. You type in some crap and just gives you things, right? It's like, wow. And then you find this asshole on LinkedIn who is like, oh my god, it made a typo. This is a super shitty AI. It's like, dude, oh my god. Like, you know, no, seriously, it's just ridiculous. It's like, it's like the same with, for example, what Theo asked. Just because something is possible and through some other means and it's not perfect, doesn't mean you shouldn't do your best. So whenever you're doing input validation, output validation, any validation or error handling, you want to prevent as much as possible. And sure, there's going to be other things that you're not going to be able to prevent, which doesn't mean you shouldn't do them, right? It's ridiculous, right? It's gonna make people useless, lazy. All right, I have an advice. Because ChatGPT is gonna make us useless. Let's get rid of electricity, cell phones, internet. Let's get rid of fucking everything so we cannot be useless, okay? Get rid of your washing machine, your dishwasher, wash your fucking shitty pants, with your hands, because, people are now, instead of spending this beautiful 3 hours of time writing this algorithm, now you can get it in 2 seconds. It's like... No, Gabs, I'm not being aggressive, sorry, I'm just kidding. I'm not saying that you said that. Please, don't misunderstand me. I'm just making jokes, right? I'm not saying that you are saying this, just to be clear, right? It's just kind of playing a role, right? But you know what I mean. It's like people who say that stuff that you wrote, right? Just tell them this. I would personally tell them this. Well, okay, just go in a forest and live there. Are you hungry? Yes, well, go and hunt a fucking deer by your bare hands. Don't use a gun, because the gun is gonna save you time. It's gonna make, instead of running for this, deer by your bare foot, now you just take a gun, you shoot him, and he dies. it's so lazy, right? I mean, why would you do that? You know, it's just better to run, you know. It's like, dude, what the fuck is that? I mean, who says this stupid, idiotic stuff? It's like, right? Yeah, yeah. Just yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, it's almost like when I hear that sort of stuff, is like, what is this, man? Like, seriously, like, what is that, right? It's like, yeah, let's just get rid of everything because it's gonna make us lazy, right? Yes. Jesus Christ, man. It's like I think that you see, this is probably I think you see, let me just tell you one irony of this stream. Let me just tell you. So this is one of the streams when I had the highest amount of viewers at the same time. So I think at once I had maybe 100 people, but 70 is generally more than I usually have. And now when I think about it, I think that people like drama, right? So I just have a feeling that if I'm coding less in my streams and talking more, this is why. What am I trying to say with this, right? What I'm trying to say with this is that a lot of the reasons why we have this sort of discussions even is because people like this contradictory type of stuff. So I genuinely feel that you have those content creators who actually do this on purpose to attract people, right? It's like, because if those people would say, yeah, you know, ChatGPT is amazing, you should use it, there's no content in there. You're just like, okay, great, well, done, right? But if you are like, oh my God, it's gonna take our jobs away, the life is over, we're gonna be starving and it's gonna be war, and it's like, oh my God, man, now there's so much stuff you can talk about, right? But if you just say, yeah, this tool is great and it's gonna help us a lot and it's gonna make us more productive in other ways, you know, like, all right, I mean, cool, you know, what now, right? Exactly. Okay. Well, just oh, AI. Okay, let me shut the fuck up. All right. Yeah, exactly. It's just ridiculous. I don't know. I'm just observing how many people are watching, and it's like quite funny because I've never wrote less code so far in any stream for 6 months. I barely wrote any code now, and I'm thinking, what the hell is going on, man? How are all of those people here? I wrote no code, right? And then I realized I'm talking so much crap that it's crazy, man. It's just lovely. I like it. So from today, guys, this is not a programmer network stream anymore. It's just stock bullshit stream. It's lovely. Enable to law taught. Okay. No, but I did check honestly. You know, I'm not using the query. I'm just using my own implementation of fetch. I made some abstraction, and I'm using use SVR only in one place. I'm using this use SVR for the infinite scroll. So if I go to the feed, if I actually go to production, so I'm using use SVR for this with infinite scrolling, right? Just to kind of have the pagination, right? Scroll pagination, right? Pretty much. So I think okay. So now just to focus for 2 seconds, right? So if we are actually, because actually the extension is indeed incredibly buggy. I agree. The extension is incredibly buggy for sure. Bad request. Okay, we're getting bad requests. That's a bit awkward. Okay, let's kind of go here. Let's see what's happening. Okay, let's just try to wrap this bad boy here in a try catch, right? Because or we could just add some log in our kind of centralized error handler, right? So let's do this, and so let's see what's happening, right? Probably, yeah. We have now. Comments. Ah, okay, I see. That's why, right? I think the table is called comment, not comments. No, you're not. Absolutely. Please ask it again, DV. I might have missed your question. But please ask it. Yes. Oh. We missed that one as well. Oh, okay. So now it might be working. Okay, let's see. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. All right. So here we have the comment count, right? Yeah. 0. All right. So that's good. So let's kind of take a look at it again. So let's like this stuff. Let's go in here. Let's leave a comment. And shit, this is my YouTube. Yeah, I think we fixed it. Yeah. So let's deploy that. Finally wrote a single line of code today. We don't really need this because that error is gonna bubble up anyway, right? So let's just push this to production immediately. What is this stuff? Yeah, all right, we need that as well. We don't really need that, do we? No. No, all right. Let's say include comment count for a single thought. Have you heard of PH? No, I did not, unfortunately. I'm having trouble with targeting an image to an external tab. I can target a normal... I'm having trouble with targeting an image to an external... What do you mean targeting an image? Can you be a bit more elaborate, please? Now let's just go to my GitHub. Let's go to Programmer Network thing. So we go here. We go to the API. We go to issues. Mailar, is that the one that you posted? Let's go to CI. Let's see, did we actually push this? Yeah, let's wait for the CI to finish. I see. I do know how to program with JavaScript, yes. I can do that really well. AI search engine. Let's take a look, see. Ask anything. Yes, please do. You can. Happy to help. Yes, you can do that. Yeah. Yes. Feel free to do that. Yes. Let's wait for this to be deployed. And let's go to our... My pleasure, man. My pleasure. So what is the question, just Mozart? What is the question? Let's just answer this question and then let's write more code. I just wanna... Okay, so just Mozart, I can answer your question and tell you why. Or let me try to help you way more than that so you don't need to ask me this. Let me show you this stuff. Look at this. So please just look at this. Take this as the best answer you can get. Because I can answer this to you, but in 3 seconds you might have another question, right? So I'm going to literally paste this. And I'm going to also paste your question in here. And I'm going to hit enter, right? So please take this as the best possible response in modern time today, because I literally didn't do anything. I copy pasted your code and I copy pasted your question into ChatGPT, and it gave you the answer here. It seems that there are few issues with the code snippet you provided. Firstly, the code is attempting to append the image to an element with the ID X, but there's no element with that ID la la la. Secondly, the semicolon after the image source may be causing issues. Try removing it. Lastly, make sure that the image source URL is correct and that the image file actually exists on the server. So why am I showing you this, right? No, but I intentionally used 3.5 because I'm not sure if he has access to 4 because I'm paying $25 a month for ChatGPT. But so intentionally used 3.5 because it's free. But I wanted to show it to him that I did nothing. I gave the code that he pasted and I literally pasted his question, right? So it literally told you here, just Mozart, you know, if I had ChatGPT in 2005 or whatever, or earlier, I would be like a god today. So if you're a junior today, you have never been in history of programming at a better place to learn programming than today. Like seriously, like if you should be, this should be your homepage. Yeah, so ChatGPT should be your homepage, and it should be your code assistant. I didn't want to do this now, but let me teach you just a tiny bit how to use ChatGPT, right? As a software engineer, it's very imperative. So when it comes to ChatGPT, we're talking about prompts, right? There's literally jobs in Silicon Valley today paid $300,000 a year for people without any education, almost, who and their responsibility is creating good prompts, right? So what you can do as a junior developer here is you can do something like this, or senior, whatever. You can say, please act as a senior developer and I'm a junior and help me out with my problems, right? Right, so you do something like this, right? And then you go here. Let's just demonstrate this, right? Then I copy this. I have this piece of code that I wrote. Then I copy his question. This code doesn't la la la, right? So I do this. So now the ChatGPT is going to behave more technical, more mentory and stuff like that, right? Now you can obviously, if you're not doing this already, you can say, okay, you know, can you elaborate more on this, on that, la la la. This is a miracle. For me personally, if you're not using this, no matter what your skill level is, but especially if you're a junior, this should be your holy grail. You should be dreaming about this. I'm now demonstrating this with 3.5 just because I don't know how many of you are paying for ChatGPT. So I'm just using something that I know that most people have access to, right? But so this was 3.5, right? But doesn't really matter. For this sort of stuff, it's perfect, right? So you don't need 4. This is pretty basic, right? But the point is, you know, yes, 100%. Psycho's 100%. So you can tell, let me show you one thing. Let me show you one thing. 1 second. So let me show you one thing. Look at this. So if you guys go to here, so if you go here, this is a link that I found online. It has 163 good prompts, right? So I want you to act as a JavaScript console. I will type commands and you will reply with that the JavaScript console should show, right? So let me show you this. Look at this stuff now. For example, just a random example. So now I've told my ChatGPT to behave as a JavaScript console, right? So what I'm trying to say is like how you compose your questions to ChatGPT, and it also kind of memorizes the context. So even when you start a new chat, it's going to memorize most of it. So how you compose your questions, to which detail, and which input you give it matters a lot. Because if you you need to give it more context, you also give it up front, the better output, more narrowed output you're gonna get, right? So you need to use English language in a way to, right? Now, of course, there's this stuff as well. No, sorry, not that one. This is awesome ChatGPT prompts. This is a great resource, right? Super good resource, right? Act as a Linux terminal, whatever. Act as an English translator, whatever. You can see here there's insanely good amount of resources, right? Exactly. It's so please, seriously, like this, at this moment in time, if you're not using ChatGPT, I'm giving you the best advice from now on of your life, right? So I'm not exaggerating. I'm not clearly benefiting anything from you using ChatGPT, but I'm saying if you're not using it, then there's something wrong with you, literally, talking to all of you, right? So this is not a matter anymore of values, of, oh my God, it's so unethical. Nobody gives a shit, man. There's gonna be a bunch of people who are gonna use it, and if you don't use it, you're gonna fall behind. Now, do you have some fucking values or whatever? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your values. You're either gonna use it and be productive, or you're not gonna be productive and you're gonna fall behind. So it's simple like that, right? 100%. I would agree with the disciple, right? Going back to what Einstein said, if I had an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes looking for the right questions to ask. This is fundamental. Smarter you are about some subject and more concise, precise questions you can ask, the better output you're also going to get. So, right? But for example, you know what? So for example, let me show you another example. Look, let's imagine we're talking about, let's talk about, I don't know, let's ask a question like this. You can also ask it reversed questions. You can say, what are the questions that I might not remember to ask when talking about, I don't know, Go concurrency. So if you don't know which questions to ask, you could literally almost directly say, hey, what are the questions that I should ask when I think about this, right? So if you're thinking about some concept that you don't have enough of knowledge about, you can say, all right, so what are the questions that I should be asking, right? Right? So the thing is, right, so for example, I just wrote a random thing. I said, what are the questions that I might not remember to ask when talking about Go concurrency, right? What is concurrency? Why is it important? Okay, and this is 3.5. So this one this guy sucks a bit, right? But if we actually go to the 4, right? So you can, if you don't have enough of context about the subject, you can ask ChatGPT to help you a bit. It's like, what is it that I might not think about when I'm thinking about this concept, right? 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 So forming the question this way now have basically exposed us to the actual important things of things, because we don't know what to ask, right? Like, and now we have actually gotten, so now we know that the concepts that we have here are the important concepts when it comes to Go concurrency, for example. It's like, oh, so Go routines, okay, how do we schedule? What are the channels, right? So there's so many ways you can, so this is why, that's why I put so much emphasis on importance of being articulated, being able to compose the questions. I think as the future comes, those are going to be the most fundamental skills, right? Because this AI, I mean, think about it this way. This is a first version of the AI. Just put that in your mind. This miracle right now is the version number 1. Now imagine this technology 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I mean, I don't think that anyone can imagine it, right? So it's clear like as day that slowly shifting ourselves and getting aligned with the fact that this is the future. We cannot neglect that. So focusing now your thoughts onto, okay, how do I actually become better at prompts, at prompting, at asking the questions, right? It's yeah. Also a very good point. Let's go to OpenAI Play. Let me show you a few tricks there. Let me show you a few tricks here. So give me 1 sec. I'm gonna show you a few tricks in here. Super nice tricks to know, right? Let me show you something. Where is it? Playground, yeah. So when you come to this playground here, so this is even better, right? So using this playground is even better, right? Because, for example, one of the things you can do, you can click on this load a preset. I have spent significant amount of time researching and watching some courses about ChatGPT on Udemy and stuff because it is the miracle, right? If you don't do that for yourself, you are literally harming yourself. So I've learned those things in the courses that I watched, right? So for example, you can click Q&A here, and here you can get like super quick answers, right? It's free, yeah. So here you can say, what is the capital of Germany, right? And then you can submit this, right? So this is like a format. You can have different formats, right? So this is like a Q&A format where you can like, you have a question, answer, right? You can have various different types of classifications, chat, text to command, summarize for a second grader. So this is just an example of prompts, right? This is an example of how you can compose your prompts for your specific game, right? There's one super nice feature that some of you might not know, and that's speech to text. You can click start recording here. You can record something and it's going to convert speech to text, right? Super useful. I use this almost every day, especially when I'm trying to compose some videos for YouTube and stuff. Really, really useful. The temperature basically is the accuracy, right? Controls the randomness, lowering results in less random computer, blah, 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 right? So generally, yes, you can use this. Again, you have some predefined examples here how to use it. And you have the speech to text here, right? So that's pretty much what it is. And let me just go to production, by the way. Let's make sure that now, yeah, it's fixed. Okay, great. The thing is, there's really no rules, right? For me personally, the biggest benefit of ChatGPT is the context, right? So you can start some question, you kind of, I think it's very important that you, I think it's very important that if you treat ChatGPT as another human being, I know this sounds like an overstatement, but it's not. If you try to, I think really try to practice how you compose the questions, right? Because you're not, I'm not telling you like be more eloquent so you can use ChatGPT. I'm saying the future of software engineering and world in general is going to be composing your questions properly. So while you're using ChatGPT anyway, try to compose those questions as if you were talking to a human being. Because if you were working for my team, if I was your team lead or tech lead, and you came to me and you said, hey, let's do this. Hey, Alex, let's do it. Let's do X. I would probably be like, what the fuck are you talking about, man, right? Like, what does that mean, right? And then, you know, so what I'm trying to say is like, try to be elaborative. So I think the first prompt that you write when you start interacting with this AI really sets the context for the rest of the things. So that's why I say it's like, so for example, what I'm trying to say is this. Imagine this, right? Imagine you go to ChatGPT and you say, what can I do in Paris? And you ask this question. But then you can do is like, I will be traveling with my 2 kids, a wife, for only 2 days in Paris. We will only have 4 hours of free time a day. What can I do with that free time in Paris, right? so now when you compare those two, obviously prompts, right? It's clear that here you gave it a lot of context, right? You can also say, area, right? So that's what I mean, right? So this is way too general, right? And you would get the the response to this question would be as useless as the question itself, right? This asking this thing is idiotic, right? It's completely idiotic. So the answer would be probably as idiotic as well, right? But when you say, I'll be traveling with my 2 kids and wife for only 2 days in Paris, we will only have 4 hours, 3, and then you start the conversation with this, string matcher, right? Yeah. Nice. Let's start this immediately. Thank you very much. Let me bookmark this immediately as well, right? Okay, cool. Actually, it was here, right? Vita 4.3 is out. Nice. Anything worth in the change logs that's worth upgrading to? It's faster, okay? Okay, I mean, that's the most amazing response, honestly, that I could get. Instantly, like instant upgrade, it's like wow, okay. So are you saying that, give me 1 second, so could I just upgrade to 4.3 and then see if it works? Is there any breaking changes? What can go wrong? The problem with the imagination is I think Fury, Furu, whatever, right? I think you are, in my opinion, no offense, I think you are. It's like your statement that you made right now is just like saying, when I take a picture with a camera is not as real as a real life, right? I mean, this is not about, you cannot, you got some amazing tool that can save you so many issues, and now you're saying, well, the issue with it is that it lacks imagination, but you're focusing on something that you shouldn't really expect it to have. That's not the point. That's like saying I wish the screwdriver is a hammer, right? I mean, it gives you so much value, right? That in my opinion, I wouldn't even dare to find a negative in it, right? I mean, it does so much stuff that I would feel bad saying, you get what I mean. So don't take me wrong. You clearly have your own opinion on it, and that's perfectly fine, right? It's just I would literally feel bad criticizing it even 1%, unless we're talking about, ethical stuff and stuff that's more philosophical, right? Yeah, but let's get there. I mean, you know how I live my life. This is pretty much, so let me just tell you one quick story how I got myself to this point of thinking. Maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I worked for one company, and I would go to my manager, to my tech lead. Back then, I would say, "Hey, Alice, let's do this." I would just do this. I would just be like, "Hey, let's do this," and then he would just, for the most part, be quiet or whatever. And then at one point, he got super fed up, and he started telling me do it. Because I would go to him, complain, is like, why did we do this stuff this way? Why did we do stuff that way? Why? And then what he then started doing with me is like, okay, dude, do it. And then after he started doing this, right, is I just shut up because I realized that I was just complaining. I was doing no action. So from 7 or 8 years ago, the way that I operate is very simple. I either propose and react to things, so I'm proactive, or I don't bitch about things, right? So in simple words, if I can make something better, I will do it. or I will not talk about it at all. Because, for example, like, let's take JavaScript as an example. Let's imagine we talk about JavaScript. You have a lot of those little assholes, those keyboard warrior developers who is like, oh my god, this is so slow, why are you using this? And then you have other people who are actually making things faster. So you have people who do things, and you have people who complain about things, but they have zero action about anything. It's just like, just sitting there, and it's like, oh my god, ChatGPT gave me a wrong answer, this whole thing sucks, right? And then you have people sweating over it, making it better day by day, building that miracle, right? So I'm not, please don't mistaken for anything. I'm not saying that, and you're not doing any, like, you're not proactive or anything, but I mean, in simple words, basically, I either contribute and I'm proactive, I try to help, or I'm not in there. So I can only try to help and make things better. Otherwise, I don't really have an opinion, right? Yeah. I mean, well, ask the best way to. The thing is, a lot of those people, a lot of people who are talking about Rust, they have passed this stream, and my only question ever to them is like, what are you using the Rust for, and what did you build in it? And none of them ever, except one guy, have told me that they've actually ever built anything in it, right? So it's kind of like, it's fine, man, you find some language and you like it for whatever reason, that's great, but what did you use it for? I mean, who gives a shit, man? Like, what did you build with it? Did you build anything with it? No, well, who cares, man? Like, who cares, dude? I mean, Elisi, good day, my friend. How's life? So that's pretty much how it is. Like, it's like, either improve things or just don't do anything. If you can't make things worse, sorry, if you can't make things better, don't make them worse. Don't complain. Don't, right? It serves no purpose. Serves nobody, right? Exactly, man. Exactly. So all of this, I mean, again, remember, this Vim guy that's streaming, right? This Vim guy, a lot of content creators, they build content around their business. So he's selling you Vim, he's selling you Rust and all of that stuff, and that's great. I have nothing against those technologies. Don't take me wrong. I think Rust is a nice language in many ways, but I'm just saying you have to take the context of things and understand why they're like that. Somebody who has built a brand around a tool is not gonna say shit about the tool. That would make no sense. Like, why would you do that? So there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of this stuff, there's a lot of talk, but in reality, that's not the real. For example, if you want to build anything in Rust now, let's imagine you want to build a web server. And why am I saying this? Because I've tried this. When I worked at Airtame, so 6 years ago, I worked at a company called Airtame, right? So 6 years ago, I worked at this company, right? And me and my colleague, Rust approximately came out back then. We bought this first Rust book, and we sat for a couple of evenings at the company. We went through it, la la la. And then I wanted to build something in Rust, right? I wanted to build a web server in Rust, right? And then I started, right? This was 6 years ago. I started building a web server in Rust, and then sure, Numinix. Don't take me wrong, but even today, if you want to build web API in Rust, try finding the libraries for it. Try finding the OAuth libraries. Try. I'm talking about bare minimum. Exactly. Again, I'm not. I have really very little opinion about Rust or whatever. But the whole point is that in reality, if you now take Rust and try building, let's say, a web API, that is from every perspective except the perspective of a nerd. There's no reason you would want to do that. The community libraries are still very poor in a sense of existing even. You can build an API in Go and Node in like 2 hours or 1 hour. So I'm not, this is more about where the technology is today. I'm not saying that Rust might not become some new, modern, amazing, whatever thing in few years. It probably will. But I'm saying if you try to build business-oriented apps today for the web space, because Rust is more suited for embedded programming. Rust kind of, I remember when it came out, a lot of my embedded friends back at Airtime, they were kind of excited. It's like, hey, is this going to replace C and stuff like that? But I'm saying from a purely productive standpoint now, there's no reason you would use Rust nearly for anything. I'm talking about productivity. I'm not talking about some perfection. I want to learn the language. I want to learn new ways of managing memory and stuff. That's all great. But from the perspective of productivity, and if we talk about web space, there's zero reason, zero to use it. Simply because it's immature relative to even Java, PHP, anything. Because in any of those other languages, you have insanely huge ecosystems, you have libraries, you have things that you can implement in your code base in 3 seconds. In Rust, right now, that's not the case. Is it going to be the case one day? 100%. There's no question about it. But I'm saying right now, and past 5 to 6 years, if you try to find basic libraries for some of the common things that you need, like when you're building an API, I need a Swagger, I need drivers for different databases, Neo4j, Redis, this and that, la la la, it's still incredibly immature. And that's the problem for me. For me, it's not the problem like, right, it's just missing those things. And until it gets those things, for me, it's just another thing that's showed up. And let's see how it goes, right? It's, yeah. Yeah, that's just my take on it, right? So I have no really hard opinions about anything. It's just, can this tool make me productive? Yes, I use it. Is it not making me productive? Well, it's not making me productive. Then I don't use it. That's where it starts and ends for me, right? Because we can again sweat in this bubble land of concurrency and it uses so very little memory. You know, you can serve 7 billion users. But in reality, does anyone here has a blog that has more than 100 visits a month, right? So you have to be mature, right? You have to stay mature, right? You have to stay mature and be realistic with yourself, right? I'm using it. If you want to use Rust, if you want to use C, if you want to use C++, if you want to use JavaScript, Haskell, Clojure, Lisp, whatever, you have to make sure that you're using it for the right domain and the right problem that it exists for. You cannot take a language that's not meant yet for some things and try to fit it to that stuff. That doesn't make sense. That's like writing a CPU drivers in JavaScript, right? That would be horrible, right? So, yeah. Okay, well, we have upgraded this, and it seems to be working. Are we? Yeah, I mean that's great. Somebody wrote that they tried to sign with LinkedIn and they failed. Let's see. Did we mess something up? Okay, I'll need to take a look at that after stream. Marv, I can't register with any way. What? You mean neither of the three? Maybe now when I deployed, I messed something up. Most likely, right? I think... Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I think we messed... What did we push a second ago? Give me 2 seconds. What did we push? Yeah, we pushed that thing. Okay, give me just 2 seconds, right? I need to SSH into my server. Just give me 1 second. I need to SSH and I don't feel like showing that on my stream, right? Oh shit, what? That's not good. Give me 1 second. Okay, wow. That's pretty scary. Okay. Um 1 sec, about to fix it. Wow, okay. No, it's not a bug. It's not a bug. It's some infrastructure type of thing. It's just something related to environmental variables. I think I'm gonna fix it in like 2 seconds. I'm just restarting all the services. Give me a second. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Give me 1 second. Let me try now. Should be working now, I hope. Fuck. Did we like, give me 1 second. Did we like, no, actually, so it does work. 1 sec. Ah, shit. Wait, I know. Wait. Okay. All right, sorry. I think so I think today after the stream I'll fix some of those things. I need to, it's just some regressions that I have left, right? But I think I remember. Give me 1 second. Let's just, I think I remember. Maybe. I don't actually know. Just give me 2 seconds here. Maybe I need to enable myself on a firewall to do this, but this kind of sucks, yeah. So wait, we have redeployed stuff. So we have redeployed stuff and stuff got messed up, right? Yeah. And why would that be? Why would that be? You should be using ChatGPT as much as possible, definitely. The thing is, man, I don't know, like, if somebody has created the notion of, please just be reasonable. Sometimes that's why critical thinking is so important. Just be reasonable, right? Don't allow yourself to feel like somehow you are obliged to become this. Software engineering, man, is just like any other job. You repeat same fucking 20 keywords for years and then you learn it. So don't conceptualize this job like it's different from accounting or working at the gas shop or something. It's another job where you repeat 20 different concepts all over again and you combine them in different ways to create some compound other features, right? So use whatever you can to learn faster. This is not some majestic industry where we are somehow smarter than someone else. It's another language with few words. Imagine that programming is like English, but with like 0.0001% of words, right? So don't overthink it, man. Just learn it in any way. It's just fucking programming, man. It's not and also true, yeah. Cosmin is pretty much true. And those numbers can be adjusted depending how you approach building software, but that's the thing. The reason why what Cosmin is saying, and the reason why that is mostly true, is because exactly because the discussion we had. Most developers have tendency to just think that their job is writing code. While that's wrong, our job is to define the problems, tasks, break them down, and do shit tons of other preliminary work, and then write code. And then those numbers wouldn't be 20/80, they would be maybe 50/50 or something like that, right? Exactly, pretty much, exactly. You create the problems because you've been coding something without understanding of what you're actually supposed to do, and then you have learned what you're supposed to do, and now you're fixing them. So you have done things in a reverse. It's like, yeah, let me just code it, and then let me write. I have a question. Is using a single-page app quite a bad decision for a bootcamp website, for example? No, I don't think so. I mean, you should be using single-page application framework literally in every possible instance except when SEO is super highest priority. There's nothing that server-side rendering does better in a sense of that, except and not even then always just deliver static pages, which, you know, search engine crawlers can access a bit faster and better. But almost in any other instance, you want to have a proper client-side application. You want to have separation of concerns. You want to have an API or set of APIs, set of services out there. You want them to be decoupled as much possible from your client side, because this opens up the world of using a single API for a mobile app, for this app, right? So unless SEO is of the absolute critical importance, there's really no reason today or almost ever to not use single page app, right? I don't know what is this obsession with the server-side rendered apps. There's no Vite framework. Vite is a build tool. It builds your code. So you can use Vite to build React app, Vue app, Angular app, Ember.js, Knockout.js. I don't know if those things still exist, but you get the point, right? So Vite or Vite isn't a tool. It's not a framework. It's a build tool, just like Webpack. Hello there, Rit. This hybrid stuff, render a bit of this there, render a bit of this here, it creates this unnecessary complexity for a very little gain. So if you need SEO to be top-notch, just server-side render things. I mean, we've been doing server-side rendering for 30 years, right? So server-side rendering is not this new majestic concept. Tools like WordPress have been server-side rendering for 25 years, right? So it's not that server-side rendering is some new guy, right? I am from the Balkans, yes. So well, I come from there, but I live in Scandinavia. But you get what I mean. So server-side rendering has been there since dawn of time, right? So so that's literally how it is. Like, actually, server-side rendering used to be how we built most of the apps back in the day, in C# and PHP and stuff, and then the client side took over. It was not vice versa, right? So pretty much how it is. Bosnia kill, a small city, Brčko, called Brčko. All right, so cool. It's hyped because it's simple, right? Anything that's simple, that the tools which are generally popular are tools which enable very low entry level. So for a tool to be popular, it needs to automate a lot of stuff from you. Tools like Next.js, they abstract away a lot of the problems from you, which is good. That's what tools should do. That's why we use frameworks. But technically, Next.js exists, and tools like that, React as well, is because they take away of... Exactly, Kill, exactly. So so that's kind of how it is, right? So that's why it's popular. It's popular because it's simple, right? We have a Balkan gang here, exactly. I've been in Scandinavia, you know, past 12 or 13 years, but there's a lot of people from the Balkans, yes, and that's really good to see. Okay, so let's fix. I have actually somehow messed up this Bulgaria here. Yeah, exactly. Marv is from Bulgaria too. Eastern Bloc. Okay, let's see. So what did we... So I messed up something with him. Okay, I'm gonna fix this after I stop streaming today. I promise. I need to... I don't feel like sharing... Yeah. Exactly. I've been to Finland. You know, I worked at the DTU, Danish Technical University, 2.5 years ago. I was a team lead at the university back then, and I traveled to Finland. They sent me to Technical University of Helsinki, right? So I went there, and I remember when we were landing in Helsinki, man, it was winter, and it was turbulences and stuff, and I saw through the window that the whole kind of airport is ice. Dude, I almost shit my pants. So we are landing in Helsinki, and I'm just like, man, I just need to survive this. But it was really nice. I've been to Helsinki for like 3 or 4 days, and then went to Technical University of Helsinki. Like, we had the meetings there and stuff, right? What is your stream schedule like? My stream schedule is mostly I stream at 9 p.m. in the evening, Copenhagen time. I live in Copenhagen. And that's because I have a full-time job. And that, so basically my schedule looks like this. I work every day until 5, then I come home. My wife then goes to work 3 times a week. She works from like 4:30. Then I pick up our son from daycare. I'm with him until like 8 p.m. And then I put him to bed. And then at 9 p.m. I start streaming. And I stream a lot, right? Like most of my streams last for 2 to 3 hours, you know, because I don't have more energy, you know, after the whole day of kid and work and stuff. Well, I mean, I go to the office here in Copenhagen, you know, around 8. Sometimes I run to the office, sometimes I bike, and then... But how much do I work? I mean, you know, I live a pretty healthy lifestyle, right? I exercise a lot, and I run a lot and stuff like that, right? So it makes working a lot easier. I work as a technical lead. I work as a tech lead at a company called Dream Data. I work as a tech lead here in the city center of Copenhagen, basically, pretty much. What is it to say? I mean, so this is where I work. I'm a tech lead at Dream Data. And Dream Data is a company here in a city center. I mean, I'm a very happy person, man. I would, yeah, this picture is like 6 years old. This picture is like a 6 years old, and I had a beard back then. But yeah, this is me. This is me. This is me. I promise you that. I promise you that. And of course, yeah, I mean, I had a haircut recently, and I think I lost a lot of weight since then. Yeah, I did because I had more kilos, and I also yeah. But yeah, that is me. I promise you. But yeah, Marv, of course, Marv. All of us should be incredibly happy here. We're all so privileged, right? I'm so privileged to be standing here at the age of 34 and talking to a bunch of people and just having fun. I mean, there's no reason not to be happy. Now, I'm actually very sad that you guys can't sign up, because I really wanted a bunch of you to sign up. I mean, that's pretty much the only thing I would expect from people who watch this stream. I would highly appreciate if you guys can register and stuff, because yeah, the platform is pretty small now and there isn't much to do there, but it's gonna grow bigger and bigger now, starting actually this week. So yeah. Okay, let me try to fix this. Let me try to fix, like, how did we break the auth, right? So we broke the auth somewhere. Let's see. Give me a second. And thank you everybody for the follows and stuff. Can you say a few things or purpose? Yeah. I mean, the thing is, yeah, I can say a few things, Tronic, right? Basically, I don't have Facebook, Twitter, and those platforms because I despise them for what they exist. And Programmer Network idea is something I came up 8 years ago when I lived in Sweden. So around 9 years ago, I lived in Sweden, and I worked in my own startup. And then on one hackathon, on a boat between Sweden and Denmark, we had a hackathon on a boat for 3 days, and I came up with this idea. And back then, it was even better idea than it is today, because today there's already a bunch of platforms for programmers. But the idea behind this platform is to build a combination of Medium and Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn just for developers, right? So this is where we're gonna end. So we're gonna stop streaming this project. Nice, Crit, nice. We're gonna stop doing something else maybe one day when we have all of those features implemented in Programmer Network. Like this week, tomorrow, we're gonna start with this. But the idea is to build a unified kind of platform where developers can tweet or share thoughts, write articles, create courses, etc., etc. Now, why do I say this is gonna take a couple of years, right? Well, it's going to take a couple of years, not because of coding. I can code this fairly quickly, right? Even though I'm just coding this maybe 2 hours a day. the thing is, it takes years to build, right? It takes years to build a community, right? To get people to the platform like this, you need content, and content is the hardest thing, right? So for me, if I had 10 friends who are willing to write articles on this platform regularly, who are willing to create courses, yeah, exactly, right? So I am the one who's going to be building free courses soon, right? So I'm gonna start recording YouTube. That's why I started this YouTube channel recently, because the idea of this channel, I think I started this a week or two ago, is to create value for people, of like a knowledge value, learning value, but try to get them to sign up, right? What is the architecture like? Architecture is relatively simple. So we have Redis, Postgres with SQLize, Fastify.js, Nginx, all hosted on Hetzner using Docker. So infrastructure, and then we have AppSmith for building internal dashboards and stuff. And then the front end is basically React hosted on Cloudflare pages with Redux and Tailwind CSS and all of that fancy stuff, right? So can I play a song on a guitar before I stop the stream? Can I play a song on a guitar before I stop the stream? I mean, we could do that, yeah. I'm just not sure. Give me 1 second. Is Programming Network open for contributions? Okay, so Dicey, let me tell you one thing. So the project is not open source, right? And I'm very reluctant to let anyone in. And let me tell you why. Let me just be very honest. The biggest problem of... There were several people so far who joined the project and they left. And let me just put it this way. It's perfectly fine that people join projects because they open their own time and help in almost return for nothing. I get that. The biggest problem is that it's very hard for me now to let people in, because the amount of time that I spend onboarding them, this, that, so they will push 10 commits and then be gone, is very hard to justify, right? So I don't know, I'm in this space right now where I don't know how to deal with that, right? Because I have to send you this non-competitive NDA stuff that you have to sign, and that takes three seconds, right? But then I have to expose you through everything, through the front end, back end, environmental variables, other services, and this takes time. Now I have to meet with you as well, and so we can align what do you want to do and stuff like this. And then you might be around for 3 days, 3 hours, 3 minutes, or 3 months, or 3 years, right? But so far, my experience have taught me that people are not consistent enough, right? Like I don't personally expect someone to join and spend 10 hours on this a day. Clearly, I'm not doing that. But if you can't spend 5 to 10 hours on a project a week, then for me personally, it's kind of meaningless, right? It serves no it's like it takes more energy and time for me to maintain that thing than the 10 hours of productivity that you're gonna deliver to the project, right? Exactly, but unfortunately this isn't open source, right? So if you would join, right, you would join as a co-founder or some sort of thing, right? Avery Lynn, good day. Good. I'm glad that you bumped here, but Dicey, I don't know, right? I need to kind of figure that part maybe a bit better, right? Because it's hard, right? Put yourself in my position, right? Like it's I need to expose you to everything, to the services that I'm paying. There's my credit cards there and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that I have to give you, and maybe you will or you would not. And don't take me wrong, I'm not ungrateful. In a way, I understand that you want to offer help whenever you can, right? So maybe you're going to have 20 minutes today or in a week, or right? but it doesn't justify the time that I then need to spend to organize the tasks, to figure out, and then you come to me and say, hey, Alex, actually, you know, I'm not gonna have time next month, so I can't do this, right? Yeah. The thumbnail had this, how to unlock the hidden potential of your screens. Lissy, right? Any post, right? Like you can find a subject that you like you, I don't know, maybe you like JavaScript or whatever, right? Exactly, Crit, exactly. And I think if this project ever sees any light of the day, I know that the next step for it would be that I find an actual person, a co-founder, who would share the same vision and values about this as I am, right? And I actually recorded a video on this recently. I don't know, just so I don't repeat myself, right? I recently recorded a video on this. Let me just find it, right? Exactly. So I recorded a video on this recently, right? It's called A Productivity Guide. Yeah. Okay, that I paused at a very bad time. Look at that face. Jesus Christ. Okay. Lovely. So in here, at least, I elaborate my own personal feelings about, you know, at least my journey through how I ended up here, right? Beautiful, exactly. A brave face. Okay, so let's try to debug this crap. Give me 1 second. McGregor, yeah. Wait. Give me 1 second. I need to just double check something. Why did our stuff stop working? That's pretty. Oh yeah. I know why it stopped working. Okay, give me 1 second. I need to do one thing. I need to add a new IP address to my firewall, and I'm not gonna let you know what my IP address is. So I'm just gonna show my sweaty face. I've been standing now, you know, for 3 hours. So as many of you know, I don't use the chair. I just stand when I work. So, and it's getting actually warm in here. It's getting a bit warm in here, I must admit. You don't need coding experience, right? You should actually do those projects, because think about it this way, like many people. So let me tell you one thing, what I learned through this stream. Maybe if some of you have an idea for business or side project, let me tell you the perception that I have. So many people have came to this stream over the months and they said, hey Alex, you know, don't you feel, you know, scared that you're gonna spend 2-3 hours every day on this project and then it might end up not becoming anything, right? This is the perception that some people come with to the stream, right? Now they're making those people who ask those questions, they're making a fundamentally their question is wrong, because they are assuming that if I'm not spending 2 hours a day on this, that I would be spending 2 hours on something more important or more fun. So your perception is like, hey, you're spending 2 or 3 hours every day on this project. The question is formed in such a way almost as if I'm doing this because I hate it, which is fundamentally wrong. So I'm obviously doing this because it's fun. But then another fundamental issue with that assumption is that I somehow have to succeed with this project in a sense of becoming a billionaire or something, which is another issue. So let me give you an advice. If you want to build a side project, you cannot lose, right? There's no scenario in this whole story where you can lose. The only place where you can lose is that if you invest all of your savings into an idea that sucks, then sure, you can lose. But every other way, it's a win. So let me elaborate it. So first, I'm building this product, right? And I'm learning new things all the time. And I'm gonna go through this whole process of building a startup on my own. I have built all the infrastructure, all of the stuff, all of the looks and feel and brand and all of that stuff. So in this whole journey, there's no there's no a place where I lose, right? Absolutely not. Because number one, not to mention, I'm gonna build entire infrastructure for any other project that's coming. So I'm not gonna be rewriting Fastify's OAuth logic again. I'm not gonna be rewriting error handling in Fastify again. So all of this stuff is your own kind of the value is there, right? So in simple words, right, if you want to start a side project, don't have a wrong perception up front, because if your perception is like, oh, I'm gonna invest this time, then you probably don't want to do it, because the way that you're forming a question is wrong fundamentally. It's like if your brain is thinking, oh shit, I could be spending my time elsewhere, then don't start the project, because it means you don't actually want to do it, right? So define what is a win for you. For me, this is already a win. If I stop this programmer network project right now and I just shut it all down, I learned a bunch of stuff, and I learned how to stream, I built a community, right? But consistency, as I always, is the key. I build this 1 hour, 2 hours every day, and every day, every week, we can see more features, we can see people signing up, we can see, so it's not a competition, right? It's not that I'm competing with somebody, right? Sometimes I write some code, sometimes I don't, but fundamentally I show up almost every day and I do something, and that's the difference, right? That's the difference, right? Do you think you'll what? I don't know what kick is. I've never heard of that. Okay, so that isn't that. Give me 1 second. API. Oh, Kick is a streaming platform. I mean, let me tell you something about streaming, right? Again, as I said before, if I'm not building this product and trying to gain you guys to sign up on it, I would never really stream. Unless when I want to have fun, right? Ah, not having great stars, being very loyal to streamers. I mean, do you want me to tell you my most honest? Do you want me to tell you the most honest truth about how I think this streaming should be? I think that time spent into the stream for the streamer, for the most part, is time wasted financially, right? So let's face it, streaming for me, Twitch, if it comes to finances, is ridiculous. It's hilarious, right? It's like 6 years old child, right? So from the perspective, so if I'm not having fun here, and if I don't have a great job already, and overall pretty awesome life, I would clearly not be streaming here, right? So the issue with Twitch itself is that it doesn't really do much for the streamer, right? Because I mean, the ratio between people who subscribe and people who don't is insanely huge, right? Maybe 0.1% of people actually subscribe, which means, I mean, people are even having hard time following us, somebody who is streaming, right? So essentially, you are saying indirectly that the content you're consuming isn't really worth a click. Thank you very much, Crit. So what I'm trying to say is, like, I think the fundamental problem with streaming is that the people who watch and people who stream have highly different perspective on it. It's like you're now watching me here. Some of you are watching me for the first time, and maybe you will never watch me again. And maybe you have a perception that you are somehow giving something to me, which is ridiculous, because it's like going to Netflix and saying, be grateful, Netflix, I'm watching you. It's like, no, man, you're there because the movie is entertaining you. You're getting some entertainment value, right? So I think streaming in general isn't also a very scalable business neither, because most of us people here who get 50 viewers like now and stuff, we're marginal, we're irrelevant, right? I mean, you know, if you take the whole programming category now, if you take every single programmer streamer on Twitch right now and combine all of the viewers together, it's probably less viewers combined than one of those popular gamers, right? So I mean, in a nutshell, yeah, right. So if your perception is to be the streamer, then that's different. You know, I stream 2 hours a evening, maybe sometimes I don't stream, and this is fun for me, right? So I have no, of course that I would want more people to watch, right? But it's not why I'm here, right? I don't know. I mean, this is just how I think about it, right? I mean, maybe there's gonna be so somebody you know, like, asked me about this Kick or whatever, right? This new platform. If this platform doesn't do something different, then who cares, right? Actually, look at this. Let me show you one thing. I mean, let me show you what I mean. I've been kind of analyzing this a bit, so let me show you. So let's go Asmongold, right? So let's talk about this guy, right? Just to show you the ratio. I don't know if you ever did this. So here's Asmongold, right? The most popular streamer on the planet. He has 1.3 million people following, right? 1.3 million. That's basically, that's amount of followers. Some countries don't have a population of this 1.3. And there's 4,000 viewers, right? Sure. But think about it. So the guy has 1.3 million people following and 4.5 thousand watching. So that's like ridiculous, right? So it's clearly, so for example, what I've noticed with my stream, right? My stream for months now has on average 40-50 people watching. There's no correlation. Like, I might get 100 followers tomorrow, but it seems to me that still the next day I'm gonna be having the same amount of viewers, because people follow and then they move to something else, right? They find someone more interesting, or they have a job, family, they can't just sit on Twitch all day long and do that, right? But the point is, man, 1.3 million, 4,000 watching. I mean, the ratio is like so bad, right? So imagine for me, I mean, this guy is the most, and this is the most popular guy. Like, so this is the best you can get. So imagine for people like me who just do this casually after work or whatever, kid, family, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. So from a business standpoint, I can do one side project for a client and make more money than 25 years of streaming, right? Literally. So that's how Twitch works, right? Like, this is not something that you can take as seriously and turn into something like, oh, I'm gonna just, I don't think it's scalable to that, right? So now somebody, thank you for everybody, by the way, right? So yeah, so I don't know how it works. I can just tell you that the ratio of followers and viewers, and then the ratio from viewers and subscribers is so low that to me it seems, so if I would want to stream and live from the stream and have very expensive lifestyle that I have, at least, you know, I live in a city center of Copenhagen, my rent is 2,500 euros and all of that. So if I would want to if I would want Twitch to pay for my bills now, I would need to have like 3 million people, you know, right? So it's no, I'm not rich, man. I'm just a tech lead, and I have a solid salary, right? And life in Copenhagen is very expensive, man. I mean, here, finding rent below 1,500 euros anywhere in town is very hard, right? But this is just the standard here, right? So that's how it is, right? Exactly. I mean, when I look at some of those content creators, I genuinely feel bad for them. Like, that's why I say streaming is super fun for me. I'm clearly talking to you guys, and I'm genuinely having a lot of fun. But when I click this end stream, I don't really give a shit, right? I might come tomorrow, or I don't have to come ever, right? This has no impact on my life, 1%. So the stream itself has zero impact on my life. If I actually, in fact, if I would stop streaming, it would probably be better for me than if I continue, to be very honest with you, right? But when I see some of those poor people, man, they're they're discrediting themselves so much just for those views and this and that. It's just like, I kind of sometimes feel bad, you know? It's like, shit, man. I mean, you know, it's... you know, you don't have to do that, maybe, right? It's, you know, there's other ways, right? So you really have to be a clown in so many ways to please the masses, because, right? Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's how it is. Clearly, I have 60 of you watching now, and so I think maybe that's the beauty of Twitch and platforms like this. You're always gonna kind of find people who align with you and what you do, and that's how it is for me. I will always be who I am, right? And it doesn't matter if there's 10 of you watching or 60 or 6,000. I am who I am, and I'm not gonna be doing 13 years old childish crap because somebody's gonna watch me. That's not what this is about, right? So, but again, if you try to make this your living, if you try to make this your business, it's very tough. And I know that a lot of young people today, they dream about being YouTubers and streamers and stuff, but this is a super tough life. So exactly, I mean, dude, like you know, on YouTube I have my old channel, right? So let me try to switch for it, right? So if I switch, this is my old YouTube channel. I made this channel very long ago, right? Let me show you. So I made this channel like, so this is my old YouTube channel, and I made this in 2011, right? So I made this in 2011, right? And I'm not using this anymore, but 7 or 8 years ago, I recorded some JavaScript tutorials, right? When ECMAScript 6 came out, I recorded those videos, right? So this was like 7 or 8 years ago, you know, like I spoke about this video is about exports versus module exports. So I'm gonna get to the point. So I recorded those videos, and 7 years later, right? 7 years later, those videos have like 12,000 views, stuff like that, right? And then you go to a video online of a guy licking cow's shit, and it has like 75 billion views, right? And then you realize, right? I mean, where am I going with this? You realize that if you're intellectually trying to be financially independent and stuff, you just have to realize that that's not the quickest and reasonable way to money, right? So if you want to make money as a developer, you can do that super easy. And recording super specific videos that get, what, 6,000 views in 7 years clearly isn't feasible, right? So if you want to be a YouTube star, lick shit as well, and get the views and get rich, or do this. I did this for fun, you know, I had full-time job back then and stuff like that, so I didn't do this because, but you can see, like, for example, this is 10 years ago. This is 10 years ago. I was doing some emulator, some assembly programming, right? I was programming on assembly on Motorola 6800 CPU, right? 6,000 views, right? So it's a bit ridiculous, right? So, and then this is the only video that has high views. This is a very old video that I'm so proud of. It has 166,000 views, and I recorded this 10 years ago when I worked as a Cisco engineer. I was working in a company called Sveasat, and I kind of showed on a MikroTik device how to block Facebook and YouTube traffic. And this is the only glorified video. 160,000 views. 10 years. 10 years of time. And then those guys are licking, you know, buttholes, and then they get 7 billion in 3 days. It's like, oh, fuck, guys. Wait. Let me show you one thing. I forgot to show you this. Please. Super good tip before I leave. So I found this amazing AI extension for Chrome. Let me show you this, man. Insane. Look at this now. I don't know if you know it. It's so useful. So look. So there's this extension for Chrome. It's called YouTube Summary with ChatGPT. I think you're gonna be blown away. So look at this. Hear me out. So there's a new ChatGPT, so YouTube summary with ChatGPT. Look at this now. Look, I'm gonna click here. This is gonna summarize, this is gonna get the transcript of the whole video of my thing here. Then I click this button, it pastes the transcript of the video into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT summarizes the whole video. So look at this. So you installed it. It's insane. So let me show you. Let me show you one thing. If I go to my new YouTube channel, like let's imagine you came to YouTube, right? You come to YouTube, right? And you come to Programmer Network Video. You come to my channel, right? And you know, we go here. Let me show you. Super useful. So you come to one of my videos. Oh, Alex has recorded a productivity guide for side projects. And you're like, but shit, man, this guy is talking like a freaking machine gun. I don't have 23 minutes of my time to spend on this crap. What do? You click this button, then you click this button, and then this is gonna summarize everything I said in 3 seconds. This video is about productivity tips for software. The speaker emphasizes the importance of asking oneself why they want to work on a project. Consistency is more important than motivation in completing side projects. The speaker advises against depending on others to work on the project and recommends finding one's own platform for feedback. So literally, I clicked here once, I clicked here again, and now you got the whole summary of my video in 3 seconds. I mean, that is, let me share this with you. So now whenever you go to YouTube, what I do honestly first, because just so I don't waste my time, I do this. I mean, it kind of sucks ass, especially for the, so this is the video that I recorded about being, what it means to be a great software engineer, right? So let's see what I actually said. So I recorded this here in the harbor in Copenhagen. So let's click this. Let's see what I actually said. Let's click this. What did I actually say in a 20-minute video? Oscar, thank you very much for subscribing, man. The video discusses what it means to be a great software engineer. It's necessary to care about the business value of the customer while still maintaining good code quality. Sharing your favorite guitar. I don't know. It depends what I'm playing, right? This is an Ibanez Prestige. I don't know if you can see it, but this is a beautiful shredding guitar. So this is one of my favorites. It's one of the most expensive ones I have as well. This one is Gretsch. This is a Gretsch guitar. I play jazz on this mostly. So this is like this is one also a beautiful piece of wood. Give me 1 second. This is my custom-made Stratocaster, so I made this guy. So I mean, I didn't make the wood and stuff, but I installed all of the electronics. So it's tone writer pickups. It's tone shaper, solderless kit inside. So it's kind of a solderless kit inside of a guitar. This is tone knobs from my very first guitar I bought like 20 years ago. And it's a very nice custom-made thing. I made this one myself. Then this is a Washburn. This is like a Les Paul, kinda. It's a Washburn from 80s. I bought this guitar here in Copenhagen from one very good musician. He sold it to me. Very, very playable guitar. Very good guitar. Has standard Seymour Duncans inside. And I think it has been made in... I don't know, but I believe it's like from 90s or 2000s, right? Yeah, this is Ibanez JS. This is This is signature series from Joe Satriani, my favorite guitar player and my favorite musician. So it's his signature guitar. Has Muff Joe pickup here, humbucker, and a kind of humbucker in a single coil. And as you can see, maybe it's like it's a. I don't know if it's gonna zoom on that or not, but you can see it says Joe Satriani. It's a signature model. And then yeah, lastly, before we go, this is the guitar that I play the least. It's Harley Benton. I just didn't. I love the guitar. It's great, but I didn't really find the time to play it much. But it's a very good guitar. It has a flamed Canadian maple neck, so very nice. And it has Roseville pickups, which aren't really super great, but I think it's a good guitar. All right, so I will set up the guitar with stuff, and then next time maybe we can play a bit. All right, so what man, I'm sweaty like I was running. My pleasure, guys. Let's round up. We didn't do much coding, but I think a lot of new people joined the stream, and I'm glad that you found me, and I'm glad that we found each other. I hope you guys can swing by maybe tomorrow again. I'm gonna fix the all stuff now, and if you guys get a chance, please sign up later to the platform. I would highly appreciate seeing you guys there. Yeah, and what is it to say? I'll see you guys later. Enjoy your Saturdays and Sundays if I don't see you tomorrow. And thank you very much for following, for being here, for watching me. We had a great stream, I think. And I'll catch you guys up later today or tomorrow, okay? Thank you, everybody. Thank you, guys. Leo and the rest of you. Thank you very much. I hope you learned something new today. And I'll catch you guys up tomorrow, okay? Awesome. Peace out, folks, and take care of yourselves. Do something good for yourselves. My pleasure, and I'll catch you guys up tomorrow, okay?